The financial system is a joke. Consumerism is a joke. Most humans are in debt and in terrible health, overworked and overstressed because of their illusory needs, which are all not really needs at all. Illusory wants, unnecessary needs, illusions, which leads the human to sell their time for money, so that they can take this money, which is all an illusion to begin with, and they can buy stuff that they don't need and fulfill unnecessary wants that are leading to their deterioration in health, in mind, and in spirit. And I can list to you a host of examples here. So let's just fire from the hip. Starting with food. I have personally witnessed myself over the last 4 months or so of being on the road, mostly in Thailand. I have witnessed myself spend much more money than I should have on food because I wanted to fulfill these unnecessary wants and desires. And you know, I had some money in the bank and I kind of got reckless with it a little bit. And only lately I realized, I'm like, whoa, man, where did all this money go? And then I sort of started to go back and sort of, you know, just kind of reflect on, you know, what's been happening in the last few months. I'm like, holy shit, I spent so much unnecessary money on food because I was sitting there and I had a craving and I'm like, must answer the call. You know, if I don't get the tom yum soup right now, then I mean, my world will fall apart, man. It will fall apart. I mean, you know, my evening will not be as nice, as good, etc., etc., etc. And the funny thing about this is not only am I fulfilling an unnecessary want to begin with and spending money that I could otherwise spend in either a more productive way or just simply keep it laying there so that I don't have to work as much, you see, so that I don't have to sell my time for money, so that I could actually just enjoy and be in the moment more, you know. So but the funny thing is, whenever I answered these unnecessary wants, the cravings, you know, I felt like a few hours later I got some indigestion, or I started farting and burping, and I've had trouble sleeping, or woke up in the middle of the night and I was like, man, what's going on here, you know? So it's like, it's so hilarious, it's so absurd. I mean, I find humor in absurdity. So when I say it's hilarious, often it's an absurd situation. It is absurd, isn't it? Okay, here I am. I'm gonna sell you my time for money, and in return I will take this money and I will fulfill unnecessary wants that are actually not even contributing to my health. In fact, on the contrary, they are deteriorating my health, and I will get addicted to them, and I will continue to sell more of my time so that I could get this money, so that I could, you know, keep this vicious cycle going. And often the cycle gets, the rabbit hole goes deeper and deeper. It digs deeper and deeper. So a craving starts. Like, you all know, if you're in a fasted state and you've done like a 23 or 24-hour water fast and you break it with something, anything, a world of, oh God, it would be nice to eat this now, and it would be nice to eat that now, and oh my God, suddenly you open it up, because what's in motion tends to stay in motion, and what is at rest tends to stay at rest. So it's one of the laws of physics. So it's the same thing. Like, if you're just fulfilled, you're more fulfilled. But the minute you break that fulfillment, we say, well, I'm gonna eat now, and you eat, now that you're in momentum, you're in motion. So that motion brings on motion. And it is ultimately up to the conscious being to dictate which part of the momentum, which part of the pendulum you want to be on. So we're talking Hermetic principles here, the principle of rhythm. So do you want to be on the rhythm of rest, fulfillment, in the moment, no lack, no need? You could keep yourself there if you'd like. Okay, because you're the conscious being. What tends to be in a state of rest tends to stay at rest. But then because you're a conscious being, you get a craving or something, and you're like, all right, I'm going to answer it now. Let's do it. And then you do that with your conscious effort. You say, I'm going to go and get whatever. chocolate bar, or even just a piece of fruit. And then now, what tends to move stays in motion. What's in motion tends to stay in motion. So now you're in motion. So watch your mind go from one to the next. All right, I ate watermelon now. Okay, how about mangoes? Let's go. All right, let's go get mangoes. Okay, oh, that was nice. I want something to ground me. You know, you use that excuse. All right, I'm gonna go get avocados. And you get avocados, and you're like, oh man, it was some roasted nuts would be nice, or some raw sprouted almonds would be nice. You know, it's all raw stuff anyway. You know, it's raw food, man, raw food. You know, it's all about that. We're all about that life. And then you go, you get it, and it's like, oh man, and like, oh, you know, roasted vegetables would be nice. And then, whew, and it's ultimately up to the conscious being to stop that cycle. Also say, all right, no, I'm back to fulfillment. I'm gonna go meditate, fulfilled, be happy in the moment, and then yeah. So and so what happens when you begin to get in those states of fulfillment more and more is you're more being, and you realize, whatever I thought I needed, I don't need anymore. So you're like, wow, huh? Like, you know, I'm speaking now from direct experience, because I'm in Koh Phangan. It's right now, the prices here is so expensive. The island now, it's peak, ultimate peak season. You get December until April is the high season, and January is peak season. So everything here is pricey. So because everything here is pricey, and I'm like, okay, I'm faced with two options here. Either I'm gonna open up more slots to work, because right now I work twice a week, Saturdays, Sundays. I teach kids online. So either I'm gonna open up 2 more days of work, and I'm like, man, I really enjoy just having 5 days totally off. Do I really want to open up more slots to just afford to afford, you know, more because places are more expensive here, you know, to afford a place, you know, because I have the desire, the wants. I want like a place that's like, you know, big, blah blah blah, or you know, in the middle of the jungle. You know, it's all like desires. I want it to be isolated, blah blah blah, or you know, all that stuff. So I'm like, okay, you're faced with two options now, Saeed. Either you drop your wants, your unnecessary illusory needs, that I need a place that's isolated, I need a place with big ceilings, I need a place that's super quiet at night, etc, etc. I'm like, okay, you're faced with two options here, Saeed. Either you drop your expectations, you lower your expectations, you drop your unnecessary desires and wants here, and sort of learn to appreciate, learn to be fluid in the moment, you know, or just open up more slots. Open up slots Mondays and Tuesdays, work Mondays and Tuesdays, so you get 4 days you work. I would work less Mondays and Tuesdays than Saturdays, Sundays, because Saturday, Sunday is full. So either I would do that, or I would just be more content, let's say. Okay, and you know what? After some contemplation, I'm like, I ran through the expense sheet and everything, and I'm like, I started to drop a bunch of my unnecessary desires. You know, like the other thing that I dropped is like juices, you know, because juice, you know, you juice and you're gonna go get juice or something that's expensive, you know, the juice lifestyle is expensive. Whether you're doing it yourself or you're buying it somewhere, I buy it somewhere, so it's more expensive. But even if you're juicing yourself, you need like a big quantity to juice something, unless it's watermelon. It's an expensive lifestyle. So I'm like, okay, Saeed, do you even really need to juice? Why don't you just you know, replace the juice with just lime water, and you know, what do you need? And I'm like, okay, hold on. Then bananas are really cheap, so you could just get bananas if you're gonna eat one meal anyway. So just get bananas for 20 bahts. That's like $1, less than $1, right? And maybe get something else, watermelon. Okay, so then I'm like, okay, hold on. I literally halved my food expenses from where I was in Pi. Literally just by simple modifications. Simple. I'm like, okay, oh, hold on, bananas are really cheap and they're quite a meal. So, you know, you have that with some watermelons or some mangoes, and you're good. You know, that's a good meal. The other thing I thought is, which I will begin to attempt and to do, is just eating every other day. I'm like, well, why don't you do that now? You know, instead of having to work more and be stressed, and am I gonna, you know, meet the expense sheet this month? I'm like, why don't you just even eat every other day? Which is, I'm gonna start doing that next week. So I'm like, why don't you just start eating every other day? And then when you do eat foods that are, you know, in season. Bananas are always in season here, and they're very affordable. And same with watermelons. So I'm like, why don't you just do that? I'm like, well, why the unnecessary? Oh, I gotta do that. I must have a big juice. You know, like why? So I literally halved my food expenses, okay, literally halved it, and then I'm able to get a place here on the beach for very affordable also. So it turns out, after just few modifications, just I sat down for an hour and I ran through all this. I'm like, huh, I don't really need to open any additional spots. I can still be for 5 days, just totally enjoy this beautiful island, this gorgeous island, by just dropping some of my illusory needs, because I just think my mind thinks, you need this, you need this. I'm like, whoa. So that's it. An hour of just reasonable, rational thinking and analysis of what do you actually need, which is very little. It turns out I'm here in the most expensive time of the year. You know, prices are so high for everything. I'm like, oh wow. Because, you know, I'm more content. You know, I'm gonna get a simpler place. It's gonna be for next month. Right now I'm just kind of hanging out 1 week here, 1 week there. Simpler place. Actually here, right here on the very close to the beach, in very close to this beach. And it turns out I don't have to work anything more. And the funny thing is, because I'm in like a quiet part of the island, so the places here are even cheaper, because, you know, it's not the popular party place, which is what I want anyway. So you see, it's like, wow, man, once you cut through the illusion, it's so absurd to see all of humans live their lives the way they do, with all these illusory needs due to ignorance. Buddha said humans are ignorant, plain and simple. Ignorant is, they ignore all these things. And, you know, it's not that people are stupid, it's just that they know this, but they just don't think, they don't take it, you know, they just kind of shrug off the thought, and, you know, they're like, well, but I need this, man. If I don't have this, man, you know, attachment's the cause of suffering. You know, attachments, I'm attached, you know, I'm attached, man. I must have my juice every day. Must. If I don't, you know, must have it. Right? Must have it. Must have a spacious place that is isolated and no neighbors, and, you know, blah, 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 blah. Must. It's like attachment. It would be nice. In Pi, I could do that because things are much more affordable. So when I could do that, I will. It's not that I'm ignoring that I have certain preferences. Not at all. Not at all. When I go back living in Pi, I will get a spacious place that's a house, freestanding on its own. Yeah, because I could do that, because things are, you know, significantly cheaper in Pi, even in the high season. So it's not that I'm dropping my preferences as a mind, body, spirit complex. You know, it would be nice to, you know, have the very quiet and on your own, doing your own thing. You know, it would be nice. I'm not gonna just shrug that preference suddenly. Big space, you know, big ceilings. No, I'm not gonna shrug that all of a sudden. But I'm just gonna be fluid enough and content enough with what is. And if what is allows me to get a certain place that I prefer, great. Fantastic. Yes, I will do it. If what is allows me to continue to have my time to myself and yet afford some luxuries, absolutely. I'm not gonna shrug that off. My pleasure here. Let's do it. You come, you give me the keys to a mansion right now. I'm not gonna turn you down. I'm not gonna turn you down. Hey, that's great. Some mansion on its own, on a beach or in the middle of a mountain. Fuck yeah, give me that, man. I'll take it in a heartbeat. As long as I'm not selling my time for money. As long as I'm not slaving myself for my unnecessary, illusory needs and wants and desires. As long as I'm not doing that, great, fantastic. I will live the high life. I will absolutely. I got a friend, he wants to make a lot of money, and he says, when I make a lot of money, man, I'm gonna take care of you. I'm gonna give you the biggest donation on Patreon. I'm like, fucking A, man, I'm supporting you. Let's do it. I'm waiting for you. Let's go, man. Let's go. All right. You know, he wants to make like millions of dollars. I'm like, all right, cool, man. Just, you know, he's like, I'm gonna hook you up. I'm gonna give you like $1 million. I'm like, all right. As long as I'm not slaving myself for anything, as long as I'm being, and I'm the captain of my ship. Salute, you know, by all means. And if I could afford certain luxuries, certain preferences, without slaving myself, without feeling I'm a slave to the desire, to the want, to the need, by all means. By all means. So this is how most humanity. And so you look, what's our biggest problem as a planet right now? Consumerism. It's we consume like mad dogs. Like, not even mad dogs. I mean, they're just annoying. Right? We're like parasites. You know, we're parasitic in our consumption, in the way we're just eating up the planet. Food, consume, and 30% of it goes to waste. Let's create more stuff, more stuff, more stuff. Here's new furniture, here's this, here's that, here's a bigger house. Now you need furniture, don't you? You need wardrobes, you need TV here and TV there, you need 2 cars. Oh my God. Illusions, 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 illusions. You need this, you need that. Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ, it's unbelievable. Unbelievable. You know, sometimes, man, ignorance, ignorance. Buddha pointed it out over and over that the humanity's biggest problem is their ignorance, is they do not know. Jesus says on the cross, Father, forgive them, for they not know what they do. They know it. All the great masters, they know this. They go deep into the meditation, and then they realize, oh wow, you know, it turns out the problem here is ignorance. It isn't anything other than that. You know, people just don't know, and even if they know, they ignore it by not acting on what they know. You know, people know I should be eating healthier, and I should eat less. But do most people do it? No, they don't do it. So it's ignorance, not knowing, and ignoring. It's ignoring the facts, ignoring the evidence. Oh, I ate a burrito the other day, and it gave me a bad stomachache, and I woke up in the middle of the night, and I was farting, and I was like, you know, shitting my pants, and you know, all things, and I needed to wear diapers the next day when I went to work. And then a week later, here you are, you're eating a burrito again, because you're ignoring the facts, you're ignoring the evidence, you're ignoring what happened. You know, you ignored it, you ignored the experience, and that's the problem. So realize, I mean, question yourself, what is it that I am currently slaving myself for that I don't even really need? And how much of my time is my time? How much am I being in my own zone? How much am I the captain of my ship? And how much am I a slave? And what is it that I could minimize? What is it that I think I need right now? My mind thinks it needs, because it's just habituated for it. And what is it? Do I really need it? Do I really need it? Ask yourself, what do I really need? And once you actually follow that inquiry, follow it long enough, you realize how little you need. You could come to a place like this, very expensive at this time, and still, you know, with not a lot of money, still be able to live joyfully. And a simpler life is a more joyful life, because a simpler life means there's less desires, less wants, which means right away, what happens when you have less desires and less wants and less attachments? Automatically, it's an automatic process, and it can happen the other way, is that you begin to appreciate more. You begin to be content more. Like, oh, okay, maybe I don't have a place with a big ceiling, and maybe the room isn't very big, and maybe, you know, I gotta keep it a little bit down here because I got neighbors and stuff. All right, but man, I could just walk for 2 minutes, I'm on the beach. So you know what? Instead of me trying to keep it down and blah, 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 I'm just gonna go on the beach and sing and meditate and hum and be loud, because you can be, because, you know, it's like, it's the beach, it's so big, and you know, you have your own zone, and there's the sounds of the beach, and it's like a free open space, you see. So you begin to appreciate, and you change, you become flexible with certain things, and you change a little bit, and you're like, okay, well, I don't really need that, I'm habituated to do it, but I don't need it, you know. Okay, next time, if I say more money drops in my way or something, say next year, you know, my friend makes 200 million and he drops me a couple of million, well, I'll come to Copenhagen and I'll get the best place there is on the island, because it's available, because I don't have to slave myself for it. You see? So ask yourself that, and once you follow it long enough, you begin to drop them, like the dominoes effect. They drop one by one, and you're like, wow, that's pretty cool, just being. I'm pretty awesome, aren't I? I'm peaceful, loving, appreciative awareness, and that's enough. That is truthfully enough. Okay? Thank you to all the Patreons for your support. Maybe one day you guys will support me enough so that I can have that mansion, indeed. And if I do have that mansion, you guys are all invited, because it's gonna be sort of, you know, when we have more funds in the future, we'll do a community house. We'll rent like something really nice. I've seen some places here, really expensive, you know, like we're talking a few grands a month rent, but they're on their own, somewhere isolated, like a 4 bedrooms with a big swimming pool, and you know, just a retreat type atmosphere, like $3,000-4,000 a month. And if we have that enough support, then what happens is, yeah, we can start a community house, and then you guys can come live there. You know, like we can have a rotation or something like that. So, but that's in the future. You know, that's you see, you know, now just gonna practice contentment. This is beautiful. This is wonderful. I'm so grateful for this moment, and I'm so grateful for having access to this beach, and so many things to be grateful for here. God bless, and thank you guys for the support. If you get us, we have 33. Oh my God, 33 Patreons. Right now we got the 33rd today. Thank you guys. You guys are awesome. If you got a couple of bucks a month to spare, and you want to do that, and you want to support this community, you believe in it, you maybe see yourself one day, you know, coming and hanging out in the future community house, you can support down in the description. There's a link, or one-time donations also via PayPal. Saeed Mobayed at Instagram if you want to reach out for me in person. And until next time, may the force be with you.